Welcome to my channel. I want to go ahead and do a video about sleep paralysis. So with sleep paralysis, I've experienced sleep paralysis, and I actually experienced it after I learned what it was. So luckily when I experienced it, it wasn't like super scary. Well, it was scary, but at least I knew what was going on, what kind of, at the time, I guess. I know more about it now, but basically what sleep paralysis is the mechanism that goes on in your brain when you're dreaming to keep you from acting out your dreams. That mechanism, it goes on before, so your body basically falls asleep before your mind does. So that mechanism goes on before your mind actually falls asleep. So what ends up happening is, so you can't move but you're awake, and you have visual, auditory, and sensual hallucinations. This one is a hard one because I had these hallucinations, and some people say that, you're entering a different dimension, and some people talk about shadow people. And I can't dismiss this because I actually experienced a shadow person when I had my sleep paralysis, one of the episodes. So when the 3 times I remember the most, or 4, I guess, when I moved to Alberta, I had sleep paralysis, and when I moved back from Alberta, I had sleep paralysis. So I'm thinking the reason is because I had to get so many things done, like open up a bank account, and I didn't realize how tired I was. And when I would get sleep paralysis, always was, except for one time, always was when I was overtired and I didn't know how tired I was, and I would, like, my body would just fall asleep before my mind. It was really strange. And what ended up happening was, it got really bad when I was in Alberta, and it was so bad that I was like crying and like had to go to my roommate's bed. And she's like, "Oh my God, I could feel it. Like your body literally just like shakes." And then, so I realized that the reason I went in her bed was because I realized that one thing that I could do, I couldn't move my body, I could move my eyes, but one thing that I could do was breathe. And I could breathe like heavily, like, but I couldn't actually like move my lips or anything. I could just breathe loudly so that like it would like wake somebody up. So that was the plan, like if I fell asleep beside her, to breathe, right? When I was in my bed, what ended up happening and why I was so scared was, when I fell into the sleep paralysis, it felt like my body went on fire, and I was going through like a train was going by me. It was like a train. It was so loud, and it scared me so much. And besides that, there was like voices and noises and all kinds of things. And that was my experience when I got to Alberta. I can't remember exactly what happened when I got back, or I don't remember if this time is the time when I got back. I think it actually was. So I was in my bedroom, and I could see like my bedroom and everything. I could see everything. And I, oh, the light was shut off, which was bad, but there was some light coming in underneath the door from the hallway, so I could see. So what happened, and this one was the craziest one because I remember it very, very vividly. Couldn't move. I was like trying to throw myself out of my bed because at this point I'm getting auditory sounds, and I think I'm seeing something. But when I look down at the foot of my bed, I see this shadow hand. Like it was the darkest. It was like literally like looking at space. It was like so dark, but you could see it was like made out of, like, it didn't look solid as in solid, but it looked like it was very pliable type of, it almost looked like it was a bunch of dark smoke like compacted into a hand or something. It was just really interesting type looking, dark. Anyway, so the hand, it comes out from behind my bed. I could see it. So I'm looking at this hand and I'm like, oh my God, that shadow hand, what is that? it grabs my foot and I could feel it. So I'm looking at this hand and I could feel the hand. So I'm looking at it and I could feel it. And I'm like, this is too much. Like, I know I've learned about sleep paralysis, but this is too much, you know, like, and I think at that point I was finally able to get myself out of it. And the other time I remember having the sleep paralysis was when I was actually watching a show about sleep paralysis. And I was so scared, I guess, or I don't know what happened, but I was having sleep paralysis and it kept happening over and over and over. And I left the light on and everything. And you'd think it would make it less scary, but for some reason, it was just as bad. Like, it was so bad. Like, there's nothing like not being able to move and seeing things and hearing things and things are touching you. There's nothing like being that helpless. And I originally thought these were just hallucinations, but throughout the years, the things I've seen in sleep paralysis, and some people call it old hag syndrome, um, there's more to this going on. Like, there's something going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's almost like your lack of sleep and just being that tired somehow puts you in a different frequency for these things to come in. And when I was watching a girl, like, she had like a sleep, she couldn't sleep at all because she would have this happen every night. I mean, this hag thing would come every night, and she wouldn't hardly ever sleep. Like, she couldn't get very much sleep at all. And she ended up getting something done, and she said it felt like things were being pulled out of her, and she got better after that. She didn't have the sleep paralysis anymore. And then I watched another woman. She had the shadow man would come, and she saw the old hag too, but the shadow man would come and like put his arm like right on her neck, and she's like, he didn't use any caution. Like, I didn't have that happen to me, thank God. Like, I only had the shadow thing grab my foot, and it wasn't like that hard. It was more, it was like, it wasn't like a grab, it was like a grab. Like, it happened slowly. Like, it wanted to scare me. It was like, and it grabbed my foot. And that was one of the scary sleep paralysis moments I've had. So I know that shadow people are related to sleep paralysis. So is the old hag syndrome. Um, People who would get sleep paralysis is, um, if you're in a bad space. I'd say, like, one of the women, she had an eating disorder. Um, I would say that, but you know what? The other woman, I didn't see any like logical reason for her to have this. So I don't know what all the reasons are. I know some people invite it in with their actions. Like, when I had it, I was overtired and I didn't realize how tired I was. Uh, and I should have went to sleep earlier. That's pretty much what happened. But except for the one time um, when it was because I had watched it, and it was so strange how like I got sleep paralysis just because I was watching a show on sleep paralysis. I thought that was strange, but yeah, that's what I know about sleep paralysis. So if you are having sleep paralysis, I wouldn't totally dismiss it as just hallucinations and just, and especially if you're having it all the time, you need to look into that. You need to do something about that. And I'm sure there's things you can do about it. All you need to do is research. Do your research, because research is the one thing that's going to get you your answer. You're not going to get the answer by just sitting there. Well, I mean, some people do get the answer by just sitting there. Their higher self, they can get the answer. But if you're not one of the types of people that are intuitive and can get the answer from themselves, then you have to do research. I mean, it's the only other way, really. But I hope this at least helped you in some ways. Thanks. Bye.